Hello and welcome to the lecture. So we have defined the server-side code in the AJAX callback, and now we will be defining the client-side code. So this AJAX callback is defined here. As you see, we are returning the full name based on the customer ID, which is dynamically varying, and I have cleaned up the page with unwanted definitions, and now we will define a dynamic action on the change of this customer ID, and then this would be the output element. So we have to go to this page item and add a dynamic action by right clicking and create, and this is change event and items, the customer ID. So we'll add a client side condition only if the item is not null. So whenever there is a value here, then only this dynamic action will fire, because we don't want to pop it up every time and it do return a no data found error here. So we will handle that separately later on, and now we will define the dynamic action. So we'll just add the the dynamic action name here. So we'll just add change for a useful meaning. Then we will go to the execute server, not server, it's JavaScript code, and we will define the client side logic here. So we are using the very commonly used APEX server process that has the definition as in the APEX documentation. If you just see apex.server process, it has here over this server.process and this apex.server namespace where you can find. So going to this, and this is the definition. So it has 3 parameters and it returns a promise object. So we have to use the process name here, and the p data is something we will be defining the important parameters, the data type, and not the input parameters, right? So the x01 we have to define. So we will see that some example here. So going to the example, you can see that this is a sample example. So this has the process name, and the next one is an object that has the parameter, this x01, which is what we have to define. And this page items, it will be sitting at the session level if we add here, and then the callback here. So we need to define the data type as well for this. So we have to define that in the data type, and let's see what's happening. So I will just code here, just follow with me. So this is apex.server, we are getting these adjacents, apex.server.process. Okay, it's a great update, and we will have the name here, and the name I will copy it later on. I will just copy here, that's get full name, and we'll go to the dynamic actions and pasting it here. So next, followed by a comma and opening the object, and we have to define the x01. So we have to get the input through client side, right? So whatever I'm typing here, the 786, for example, I should get the first name here. So this 286 we should get from API, which is the apex dot item of the what is the page item. So this, clicked OK, this will return me the page item here. So I'll just paste it. Hope it's there. Yeah, it's the thing dot get value. Okay, just have a mistake in the caps. Get value, this returns me 786. So whatever I input here, and this will give me the corresponding data. So this some 7855 or something, it will give me 7855. So it dynamically takes the input. So this is what we want. So I'm copying this and pasting this as the the x01 parameter. So this will go to the server side as APEX application dot x01. So if we go to this AJAX callback, this is the one. So this will go that value what we passed, 786 or 7855, which we have inputted, and this will be this will be closed now. And the closing object is here. We'll put one comma and open another object, that is the data type. Data type will be, we are returning the as text, right? So the return type of this process is a string. So it's a string, so we will put the data type of this apex.server process as the same text. So then comma, then we'll have the success callback, there we will have the function, and now we will add the input thing. The function pdata means it's whatever is returned from the apex JSON will be as a input here. So we have to get that and set it to this page item, which is p1 full name. So we'll go to the p1 full name. Let me copy this and let me clear this, and I will try to use this one. I will paste it here, and I'm sure this is empty. So we will now set something. So set value of some name here. So it's setting me. So in this way it should return for us case. So we will copy this and going to the dynamic action, the one. So here we will set it, and this is not name, so this is p data, what is returned from the apex server process. So that's the thing. So this handles the response here. So we are requesting the process and with this inputs, and we are getting the response here. So this kind of if you're familiar with backend programming, how we handle the request response, that same kind of thing. So we are requesting and we are adding the logic for the response. So we are clicking OK and save it. And now let's see our implementation. So we'll take one customer ID here, say this 286. So I will input this, I will tab out. Okay, seems we are getting an error here. JSON writer is not open. Okay, we are getting an error here. Maybe I think we need to open the apex JSON with an array or an object. So this is returning me a single value, so I thought it's not needed. So it do needs for with the JSON thing. Basically it can be solved through http.p. If it's a single one, http.p will return me. So now I need not refresh this because this logic will be in the server. So I can just change it to 287, and this returns me this with the correct name, and this is 286. If I type, I can get another one. So this is fine. I'll close that. So this thing, so http.p is useful now if you want a single value, or if you want like a collection of objects. Maybe you'll try with the old apex.json, apex_json.write. This is what we are used in the earlier. So before writing it, we need to open that. That's the thing. So opening with open array, I guess. Maybe I'll just check it. Yeah, it's an open array, and you can see it's open array and close array. We should close it as well, otherwise there won't be anything. It will be just blank input, nothing. So we have to close that array if you open it. So I'm just closing that array and hope this is fine. Yeah, so now I'm saving this and refreshing again, so we'll get rid of this console errors. And now we'll input 286. It gives me as an array, and the Wilford Welch is in the form of array. So if you have a group of data, we can use this as a array. So that's the thing. So we have to make it as a plain text, right? So we can get the p data as an 01. P data of 0 will return the value of that. So we have to refresh if you make changes in the JavaScript, because that's a client-side code. So I'm just writing it, and okay, it's not parsed, so we need to parse that. That's not with the PSQL, it's a JSON, right? So it's a JavaScript, and we have a JSON function that will parse even the arrays as well as the JSON object. And yeah, so this will be fine, and I'm refreshing that. A change in the client-side code, so 286. Okay, we are having an error here again, so let me check. We'll just try to print this alone. JSON.parse. So that's fine. If we parse it, it's automatically taking that, so we have to use this way. So that's the thing. So we need not put the input here, so it automatically passes. So now we are able to fetch that, and for sure if you want a multiple data, we can use this, and this takes the response and yeah, how the server is getting here dynamically, and we are submitting the response, and the client side is fetching that. So this all things are happening here for this dynamic things where we want to communicate to the server. That's the power of this AJAX generally when it was introduced. As you know, adding to that, this really has some great advantages. Even though we have seen few examples, there are some other examples where we have to take in the form of an array, and we have to get that. So we will see that more later on in the next lecture.